I would have convinced myself that I'm a horrible, terrible person with this entire story. Wow.
I have so many questions. I have so many questions.
All the things.
Hi, I'm Jen.
And I'm Suzanne. Hi, friend. Today we are talking about how my routine dental visit turned into a full-blown shame spiral.
Ooh.
So I don't have a great, as you know, relationship with going to the dentist. Like from a young age, I have what you've called soft teeth or whatever. That's what mom always called it.
Right.
And my first dentist appointments, they weren't no one ever listened to me. I would say, ow, that hurt. And no one listened. And so I just kind of avoided any sort of going to the dentist, dental care, that type of thing. And I know I'm not alone because I've talked to so many people who hate going to the dentist. And
anxiety around going.
Yeah,
for sure.
And no shock because I didn't take good care of my teeth as time went on. I started to get lots of cavities. I ended up having to get implants in my teeth and all the things. Actually had some malpractice where they messed up on one of my implants. And so just the bottom, I don't even know if you know this, but just the bottom of my implant is below because they were yeah, don't even take it out because that might cause more issue with the bone.
Oh my gosh.
In any event, I have not had a good experience at the dentist. But finally, I don't know, 7 or 8 years ago, I was like, Suzanne, this is enough avoiding, enough. It's time for you to deal with it. So I went to this great dentist. He did a bunch of work and then he retires during COVID. And I'm like, no,
of course
he did. I finally found someone that I liked. And so I get another referral and I find this dentist and she's amazing. Just kind. She understands because when you take x-rays of my lovely mouth, it's basically all colored from all of the fillings and the implants, and it doesn't feel good, right? There's an embarrassment to it. There's the shame spiral of all these things. And yes, so we'll get into it because it's you didn't take good care of your teeth. And what kind of person are you? And this is your fault. And all the things.
That's a jump. Okay.
See, that's a jump for you. Not so much in this old head of mine.
Yeah,
So I've been going to her for, 5 or 6 years now. And I got really comfortable. Now I can sit in the dentist chair when she does my cleaning because this dentist actually does my cleaning. And cool. I can be calm. And I've actually gotten to the point where I'm talking with her. And it's not a terrible experience. It's not something I enjoy ever, but I've gotten to where it used to be that I would white knuckle it just to get through the whole thing. My foot would shake. Yep. I mean, it was really intense. So there's a mix up at the dentist the other day and she's like, hey, can you come back tomorrow? I said, sure, no problem. So I roll in there and I'm not thinking anything of it. And the new hygienist walks out and she's like, Suzanne, why don't you come on back? Panic, right? My hands start sweating. Mm-hmm. I am thinking to myself, she's going to hurt me. This woman's going to hurt me. So much is coming up at this point. I feel like the little girl who's can't escape. And I'm scared. I'm legit scared, right? And she's like, okay, we're going to start with x-rays. It's been a year. And so she starts with the x-rays. And while she's taking the x-rays, I'm trying to calm myself down, reminding myself, of the small things that help of, hey, you're an adult now. You can do this. You have a voice. If something doesn't feel good, you're allowed to say something. So I did. After we got through with the x-rays, I said to her, hey, I have really sensitive teeth and please don't spray a lot of water on them, cold water. I'm really sensitive. And she's like, oh, okay. Yeah, no problem. But as I'm sitting there, the x-ray pictures start coming up on the screen next to me. Oh my. Now the spiral really starts in. I am like, I can't even imagine what she's thinking. What if everyone in this dentist office looks at my x-rays? All they're going to see is all the cavities and all the dental work. And I'm such a failure. And I'm so embarrassed to even be here. And this is just going to make it so much worse. Yeah. So,
I'm trying hard not to ask questions right now. Okay.
And I'm sweating again, right? And now I'm trying to calm myself down again. And finally I said, stop. Those are pictures. You are giving them meaning. They are pictures. And just by saying that small thing, discovering I was in the spiral, then shifting and saying, they're just pictures, Suzanne. You are assigning them meaning. That allowed me then to go to Empowered and say, hey, you're okay. They're pictures. Calm down and like allow those irrational thoughts to simmer a little bit. And then to focus on saying to her those things of, hey, I don't particularly like when you spray a lot of water. And lo and behold, it was a lovely cleaning. She was really good. She listened. She was very gentle. She was super non-judgmental. But the story I made up in my head and what previously would have gone on, and I mean, I probably would have left there in a spiral and not gone back to the dentist ever again. Because I would have convinced myself that I'm a horrible, terrible person with this entire story. Wow.
I have so many questions. I have so many questions.
All the things.
Okay. So totally understand being nervous, right? Like when, she's like, it's not your dentist that's going to do the cleaning and
Sure.
like having the panic of like, she doesn't understand. So that to me makes total sense. Obviously, I love that you're like calming yourself down, but I'm still going back to like the picture of how, I guess, the x-ray picture of your teeth with all the, let's just call it equipment in there or whatever.
That's a nice way to say it. Mm-hmm.
How that, were you basically, oh my gosh, I don't even know how to ask this question. Were you like, are you saying that picture is like a representation of who you are?
Yes, it is a representation of a failure. So the story I have concocted in my head was, if you have bad teeth, you have cavities or other dental issues,
You
that
are
you
a bad
are
person?
a bad person, a bad girl.
Oh.
You don't take care of yourself. You're
Bad girl,
dirty.
yeah. You're dirty.
Oh, you're dirty. Yeah, you're not hygienic. You are undisciplined because you couldn't keep care of your teeth. You are a failure because it's lasted this long and resulted in this dental work.
So did you know you had this belief, or did it just, like, I know you knew you had it to some extent, but did you know how deep it ran until this experience?
Yes, I knew how deep it ran. I think the difference is I thought I had moved past it. I thought that that's
what I was trying to get at.
Yeah. I knew it ran deep, but I thought by really confronting it and being regular in my appointments and understanding, basically taking the steps.
That it has nothing to do, because like science says it has really very little to do with how you care for your teeth. It's like pH, and I don't know because I've never delved into it, but I know that it it has nothing to do with that. So like the facts say
yes. And to your point, every dentist I've ever had has asked me if I'm bulimic. And I will stare at them and be like, no, I barely throw up to begin with. And when I do, it's the worst thing ever. Like bulimia has never been my thing, but apparently my pH in my mouth is similar to someone who's thrown up a lot. So now it's like I even started off like, by the way, I'm not bulimic, just so we all know, because it's so finicky in there. So yeah.
Okay. So facts tell you this, and yet you still, interesting. So you were just, I guess, covering it up with being routine, with like the action of being routine had simmered down the story, but in reality, you really never got rid of the story because as soon as someone unknown
Yes.
had the opportunity to check you out, you automatically headed down insecurity lane.
Yes. And I also wonder if the combination of kind of being thrown off that routine of having
Uh-huh.
someone new, like that
Right.
was like
Yes.
that was a trigger,
That's what
but
I'm saying.
also
Yeah.
too, if we often think we've moved past things and then
Oh
we
yeah.
realize they
Oh yeah.
pop on up. But what I
Uh-huh.
loved, and this is, I think, why I'm so proud of us and I hope that our friends listening, like, you feel this too. My ability to stop it in its
In its
tracks
tracks. Yeah.
within that like 30-minute appointment.
Mm-hmm.
I want friend, you to know that this would have literally sent me into a spiral, a shame spiral for months. I likely in the past would not have gone back to the dentist
And
because
then
I
you
would
wouldn't
have
have gone to a
created.
new dentist
Yes,
because that would have been another unknown. So you would have been like, oh, well, I don't want to go through that again.
yes,
Wow.
yes. And that part of the lack of care of my teeth is my issue. That has
For
nothing to
sure.
do, like,
For
that's the
sure.
component that I know I do have control of.
Yeah.
And I was so proud of myself when I
Heck
left.
yeah.
Because on one hand, I mean, my heart was, I mean, it still races even talking about it. Like, that's
Yeah.
how it's a strong feeling for
Visceral.
me, visceral.
It's visceral. Yeah.
And then she was like, "Okay, you wanna make another appointment at the end?" And I really
You're like,
had to take a deep breath and
were you like, yes,
yeah.
yes,
Well,
like
and then
shaking your head no, but
pretty much.
saying, yes,
And
yes,
then
I
I'm
will put it on
sure
the calendar.
and I'm sure the dentist was trying to, like, convert people over to the hygienist so
Of
she could
course.
focus on more stuff.
Of
And I
course.
understand that as a business owner, and at the same time, there was a hesitation of being like, well, but ultimately, yes, I signed up.
Yes.
And then she even said, "Okay, you come back in 6 months." I'm like, "Nope, I come back in 4 months." And she
Oh,
was
look
like,
at
"Oh."
you.
She's like, "Oh, okay, that's great." She's like, "I really appreciate you telling me that." And she was just so kind. And
Yeah.
I'm not worried to go back. I mean, I know I have to remind myself when I do go back, but the story I had created, the
Hmm.
multiple stories I had created
Hmm.
in my
And
head.
how a thing, I think for me, like listening that a thing,
Mhm.
like you said, a picture,
Yes.
I mean, it kind of has to do with you, but not really literally had defined you as all the like list of super bad things. Like, I'm a bad person. I'm a bad girl. I'm dirty. I'm this. I'm that. And where do you think that stuff came from? Like, did people say that? Like, did past dentists say that to you? Or did you literally take one small comment and like build a whole story around the small comment? Like, for instance, they ask if you're bulimic, or they say like, do you, they ask everyone, by the way, do you floss every night? Like, but
Yes.
maybe for you, you're like, oh, it's because I have cavities, so they were asking me if I brush my teeth. Or I'm just assuming, because I know I've done that in other places in my life. So do you think that's what happened? Like,
Yeah,
how
I
did
think
that
it's a
belief get created?
yeah, I think it's a compilation, and I think it started really young in
Yes.
having a dentist tell me, "You have terrible teeth."
Right.
And you're like 5 and 6 years old, and then just
Yeah.
as time goes on, and then I think I built the story myself. Oftentimes, it
Right.
was taking exactly what you said. Someone asked me a simple question, and I just automatically assumed, well, they must be, creating stories that they think of me in my head, which then I
Of
assign that
course. Of
value to
course.
myself of my identity of being all of the things. So, yeah, I can't even say I'd pinpoint it to a specific thing. I think I built it bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And
Yeah.
I think that was the revelation was here I thought by tackling it and, going head on and creating this routine and really working on those stories that I had fixed it. And then I'm
Mhm.
just reminded yet again, there's not fixing a lot of this stuff. The
No.
difference is I don't have it as often. I can go to the dentist all the time now and I haven't had one of those issues in a really long time or those stories in my head. This
Yeah.
one just caught me off guard, and it was just a reminder that a simple picture, I assign so much meaning to that, an X-ray.
That's definitely the takeaway. Yeah, because I feel like that's what like stopped you in your tracks and was able. I mean, these other questions are just like kind of digging deeper, but
Yes.
in the moment, the fact that you recognized and told yourself like I'm assigning way too much meaning to this picture is definitely the huge takeaway, at least from how you told me the story.
And that was really the moment. And I've noticed that with a lot of things, the picture. It's all about like that picture.
The thing that you've assigned
Thing.
meaning to.
Mm-hmm.
So I would ask our listener, have you ever turned like a simple fact or a picture or something that doesn't really have meaning and given it all this meaning, or given it a story, or given it something? And you might not be able to think about it off the top of your head, because I don't think you would have been able to do that, Suzanne. No. But I think as you go throughout your day and your week and your month, I bet there's going to be something that pops up and you're going to giggle about listening to this episode. So that's it for today.
I hope you discovered something in my story.
And we'll see you next time. Same sisterhood.
Bye.